Hey, it's Chadwick again. I want to do a quick rundown on how I use Qt change to add important metadata to DSLR media, um, or anything that doesn't have timecode and reels associated with it prior to importing for use in an offline to online project, either in Final Cut, Avid, anything. So here's how it works. Download the app. It's pretty basic looking interface, but it's super powerful and does two things that I don't think anything else out there on the market that I've seen does. Um, so first, here's the problem. Okay, so down here we've got some footage from like a 5D Mark III. Okay, 5D Mark III. It's great. Everyone uses it on everything. One of the things that they praise about it is that it has timecode. Timecode's great. We need it, and you can see right here we have actual real time code on the footage. What it doesn't have though is a reel. It's kind of silly that they give you timecode but not a reel. I don't know why that is, but we need real information, or tape as Avid refers to it, when we want to make an EDL, if we ever want to be able to relink to footage for finishing outside a house, which we do on most of our projects. So 5D3s are missing reels, but they have timecode. And let's go to like an older camera. Let's say a 7D. Okay. This is also indicative like a 5D Mark III and many other cameras prior to the 5D Mark III. So 5D Mark II, pardon me. So if we hit info on this one, it's even worse. So under logging, we see there's no reel here, but there's actually no time code. What we have is just media start and media end that's always going to begin at 0 and end however long the clip was. This is no good either. It's not actual time code. So what we want to do is use this tool over here called Qt change, and this will add that metadata for us before we begin editing, before we transcode, before anything. So here's how it works. So we're showing you the problem. First thing you need to know, make sure you're working from a copy of your media files as always, and also make sure you're not working from a network storage attached like a NAS or a SAN when you're doing this. For some reason they warn against that, so I'll just go with them on that. To bring stuff into here, the first thing you want to make sure with Qt change that sort of got me at first is under setup. Make sure you change this to 23976 before you bring anything in or do anything. If you leave it at what it's set when you begin, it's one of these NTSC settings, it'll totally mess up your footage, and you don't want to do that. So, if you're working at 24 like I am, 23976, check that first. Drag your footage in to this bin, this open area, I guess it's called a bin. You can see it scans real quickly, and the footage is there. We want to make sure in Qt change that we always leave this use THM EXIF thing. So basically what that's doing is making sure we're using the time of day time code from either the THM file, which on a 7D sits right next to it, so keep those, they're good to use, or on a 5D Mark III, it's actually embedded within the QuickTime, so those are good. So 5D Mark III workflow, what we want to do is just click the alter existing reel name checkbox. I always keep erase in case somehow there was something on there, and so we're consistent. And I always want to use the clip name as the what we're setting the reel to. So check that box and then click update. It's blinking at me, and boom. So we can see here before there was no reel, and then this little caret, and it says this is what our new reel information will be. This is what our starting time code was, and this is still, it's going to retain that. So now it's as simple as clicking do it, and it's going to say, are you sure? You might really jack up stuff for people if you do this. That's why we do this at the beginning of the workflow before anyone's edited or transcoded. We say yes, and you can see very quickly it just went through those 4 clips and it added a reel to all of them. These are H.264 files. I wouldn't edit with them, but in order to maintain consistency through the workflow, it's good to have this information on all the clips. You can see we have a reel now, and that reel matches the file name. which is good. Keeps it unique, and it's also only 8 characters, which is kind of an ideal number for whenever you create EDLs. So there we go. Great, that's 5D3. Okay, now for 7D footage, what we will do is drag the THM and the MOV clips in there. Okay, scans them, finds them, and all we need to do is click alter existing real name, and we have previously found the THM files, so we've got time of day timecode. Click do it. We're gonna alter 10 QuickTime files. Are you sure you can do this? Click yes, and you can see it goes through. It's done. We can double check to make sure that these actually have timecode. You look in QuickTime, we have all of a sudden we have quick timecode here. You can tell. If you hit Command J, we also have a timecode track here that's visible. Or if you want to jump over to Final Cut, you see we now have a reel that matches the source file name, and we have legit a timecode starting here. This is hour 21. So that's about it. QT change is sweet. There's other stuff out there, but it doesn't. A lot of them out there will ignore reels, but really those reel names, those tape IDs are really important to have in your source files. I know you can add them in Final Cut, you can add them in Avid, but at that point you're adding them to dailies and not the source files you're going to be going back to for finishing and Resolve or a flame or a smoke or something. So you really need to have that from the source files on. So hopefully this is helpful. So check out my next video on creating dailies with Resolve 10.